Welcome back to AM Northwest. When life throws you a curveball, do you go with the flow or find yourself dwelling on all the negatives? Here to share some great ways to embrace change, we welcome back the author of Maximum Performance and Productivity, motivational speaker George Carroll. Good to see you again.
Hey, Helen, good to see you too.
Let's talk about change, because a lot of people are resistant to change. And why are we resistant to change?
You know, that's a good question. You know, there's a few reasons why. One thing that helps is having awareness of why we're resistant to change. First thing is we're copycats. So growing up, we model our parents, and if we watched our parents struggle through change, there's a good chance that we just naturally model that, because, you know, modeling is a very fundamental learning strategy that we use to figure out how do we operate in the world.
Right. So we assume that's how we behave when change hits us.
Exactly, exactly. And the second one is fear.
Right.
You know, there's three primary fears that really create the resistance that help, that really have people pushing against change. And the first one is a fear of losing control.
Right.
So
that's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
Confession time?
Yeah.
I'm a recovering control freak.
Oh.
Yeah, as many of us are, and so that's one of the fears that we have that creates the resistance. And the second one is the fear of being incompetent. So when we're in our comfort zone and we know what we're doing and we develop a competency, a skill level with it, over the course of time, if things change, we have to learn a new technology or we're integrated into a new team, we have that fear of, okay, can I really do this?
Right.
I might feel incompetent if I can't do it right.
I bet you a lot of older workers feel that way. I mean, I know I do. When new technology comes along, you're like, oh, I can't learn this.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, this one goes without saying, but the fear of the unknown.
Right.
So it's good to know what fears are driving the resistance so we can have an awareness. And the third piece is our survival instinct. You know, part of our brain called the amygdala, it's designed for our fight or flight response, and it helps us survive. And so anytime change happens, it can trigger a lot of stress. And anytime stress is triggered, it triggers the fight or flight response. And then our brain in fight or flight looks for the comfort zone, because that's where survival is, that's where security is. So a lot of times we retreat from change because we're looking for our comfort zone again.
Right, I can get that too.
Yeah.
How do we adapt then?
Well, that's a good question. So I have a model called the SHIFT model, and it's just a few tools that people can use to become more adaptable to change. And the S stands for shift the way that you feel about change. So I'll ask you a question. Just fill in the blank.
Okay.
Change is?
Difficult.
And so if we have a belief that says change is difficult, we're going to manifest that.
Sure.
Right? And change will be difficult. So we're designed on a primal level to move away from pain and move toward pleasure. And so if change is difficult and it produces a negative feeling, we are going to resist it. But what if change was maybe an adventure or exciting or fun?
Okay.
So we change the language, we can change the feeling around it.
So change is an adventure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So got to shift the way that we feel about it so that we can see it differently.
And then you say hindsight is important.
Hindsight is 20/20. So I always tell people who resist change, look back into your life and think about all the different change that has happened in your life. Not only have you survived it, but a lot of times there's so many positive things that have come from those changes that we forget about.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
It's like trying to learn a new computer system. And when you finally do, you go, oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, and it feels good to learn those new systems.
Right.
And so, you know, a good example of this is, you know, my comfort zone was home. When I left home to go to college when I was 18, it was the most uncomfortable thing that I ever did. I almost went back home, but when I look back, those 5 years in college, I met so many of my best friends. I learned so much, and it really shaped a lot of who I am today.
And then you talk about what does I stand for? Improve?
Yeah, so so think of change as like any skill that you've learned, like reading or writing or talking, that it can be a skill that you can develop. And so a great way to do that, and a simple way to do that, is every week, just once a week, find something new to do. Whether it's go paint, or learn a new technology, or learn to cook a different recipe. So find something new to do consistently so you kind of are building that change skill.
Well, is that something you do? Like what have you worked on to improve?
Well, starting my business, you know, 8 years ago, because going from the comfort of having a secure job to basically being the sole provider for my own business, it forced me to learn a lot of new things, and it consistently does.
And then do you feel more accomplished now that you've learned those things?
Yeah, I feel more confident knowing that whatever happens in the future, I can adapt to it, I can shift with it.
Okay, and you say focus is very important.
Focus is important. So a lot of times when we're in the midst of change, we focus on the short-term pain or the short-term cost versus the long-term reward.
Sure.
So we get tunnel vision, and what I invite people to do is take a look at, well, what's the long-term reward that's coming from having this change? so that you feel better about going through what you're
You'll
going through.
keep your job. How about that one?
There you go. And the last one is a simple one, and it's talk to someone. I think we've been taught in this culture that asking for help is kind of a weakness,
right?
When in fact it's a strength, and it's very intelligent to ask for help. So when you're frustrated or you feel overwhelmed, nothing is better for you than to just chat with somebody, with a friend, or even a change specialist to help you kind of think through your thoughts.
I'm sorry, there's a change specialist?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a whole eruption of life coaches and business coaches, and a lot of them specialize in change management and helping people learn to go through changes.
And when you ask for help, oftentimes aren't you complimenting the person that you're asking for help? Because it seems like they feel good about it too, that they're able to help you.
That's a great point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all good points. Yeah. George, thank you very much. The book again is titled Maximum Performance and Productivity. George Carroll, always good to see you.
Good to see you.